reps fairly high, sets fairly low, rest time fairly low. Now remember, when we say beginner, a couple things we want to think about there is that we're thinking like a training age of like 0 to 1.5 years. They also may have some structural issues. We also may want to look at assessment, right, of course, and the assessment balance, okay? And then we want to look at function. What's the function based upon what you're going to prescribe for the exercise relative to what that person wants to do? And we want that to lead into what should be the prescription. So weight training and program design for beginners, then in general principles, you know, the reps are going to be higher, right? The sets are going to be lower, generally. The rest time is generally going to be lower. Time under tension, generally higher. And then, of course, the tempo that's used is based upon safety, progression, and ensuring the right variety, but to also get improvement. Also knowing that if there's higher reps, lower sets, and lower rest time, then the recovery between exercise sessions and exercises will be shorter. Because remember, for the beginner, the learning curve is like this. Boom. Always progressing, always learning. So working out in university and doing some stuff with your football team once a week, and then being out of shape, and then 8 years later you show up in a personal trainer's room, that doesn't mean that you're intermediate because you had those experiences. You're a beginner. The nervous system will advance fast because based upon some things you may have remembered, but you're still a beginner. But if we just look at beginner weight training programs, all these things go into it. Low experience, there may be some structural issues, we got to look at the assessment balance, we got to look at function. Therefore, when I write this up, it has to be a generalized thing. And we can do it like this, as simple as pie. 2 pairings, 3 pairings of exercises, single leg, upper body, single arm. Bending activities, upper body, single arm, oh sorry, that's what we single arm push, single arm pull. And then we'll have 2 core activities that complement one another. And we know all the traits that are going to go into it. Reps, fairly high. Sets, fairly low. Rest time, fairly low. We want to get a bunch of repetitions in for that beginner. Because writing a weight training prescription for a beginner, remember if we did this, how about this was Monday? So how about we do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? For a beginner, this exercise session for a beginner for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they'll still make this kind of progression. Because with beginners, they need that repetition, high repetition and volume to get the format needed in their brain to build those myelin sheaths, to build that kind of nervous system to muscle activation, to get the movements coordinated. I didn't give you any examples of who this client is, because remember, if this is a person that's just like, listen, I just want to feel strong and live life better, and if that's the prescription, why aren't you doing something like that? Why are you putting them in possible dysfunction or in pain by doing some conditioning stuff you have no idea what should go into the prescription? Okay? Because just remember, what happens in the assessment if they needed some single leg work? Guess where it's going? Boom, boom, right? It's priority. For a beginning person, we need repetitions, and we need volume, and we need touches on the same movement over and over. If a person needs to get better at pressing a kettlebell overhead, practice it often, especially if they're a beginner. Do it with great function, great performance and technique, deep practice thinking on it, and in loads in which they're going to be able to express it in the nervous system to get improvements. So in writing weight training, beginner programs have fairly high volume and repetition, so they get repetition format down, involve all the things that's needed based upon the assessment, put things in there that they need to improve upon and overload those things for structure and development of it. Create exercise pairings to ensure that you balance that perspective out, so that if you have one movement that's a single leg walking lunge, so it's walking lunges and you're not holding on anything, you may be able to pair that with an assisted chin-up. 2 opposing movements, right? Because I'm not using the same muscles for each one. But if I was to do walking lunges with dumbbells and an assisted chin-up, can you see how that's not good pairing? Both of them are grip dominant. If you're going to be doing pairing, coaches A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, D1, D2. And you do upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, core, core. All back and forth. It's a really simple scientific manner. If you look at everyone's training programs and when people start with beginners, they all do it in different ways. Some people will do some of these in a circuit fashion and then circuit and then do some conditioning at the end. They just don't write it like that. The reason why I want you to write it like this, upper body at 3OXO, 10 to 12 times 3, rest 1 minute. The reason why I want you to write that, it creates control and validity. And then you know exactly if the person's getting stronger or more fit over time. So it complements that consistency pattern in your training and your coaching, which can resonate with you for your clients. But if we did that for each exercise, this is a very simple upper body, lower body, core, call it a full body training session in which you're going to get low rest times, lots of reps, upper body, lower body, so lots of blood moving in the body, and we get to pick on all the structural things that are important. And you get that all done, believe it or not, in like 40 minutes most times for most people. It can even be 30 minutes based upon the reps and sets that you want to do. For beginning weight training protocols, this kind of simplistic method, and you do that 3 times a week, and you go on, off like that. Or we can do Monday, Wednesday, Friday on, and you're taking Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday off. This is magical. It's magical, simply. There's, of course, so many exercises you can put in there to make sure the person still does what they need to get out of it relative to the structure and what you got from the assessment. So I hope you got from that for weight training protocols for beginners. And when you get people in that situation, if you apply these principles to them and use what you know in terms of what rings true for some of the things that I gave you, then the prescription is going to be magical.